Hey class, it is time for our vocabulary and spelling tests right now. I thought I'd do something a little bit different and go over the vocabulary words one more time for you and talk about some of those sentences and remind you of the things that we need to have when we are writing sentences. So listen carefully, and then you're going to go ahead and grab your vocabulary test and you will begin your own project on finishing sentences, the true and false, and connecting this word to the definition. Are you ready? The first word is sniffle. Sniffle means to sniff again and again. So we sniffle when we are sick, we sniffle when we're sad, and we talked a little bit about listening to the sentence and understanding what kind of sniffle we're asking you to answer with. Okay, so if it's talks about a sad or a movie that might be sad, we're going to talk about that the movie is sad and not that we're going to go blow our nose in the middle of the movie. So the question is, what would be something that would upset you enough to make you cry and sniffle? So I'm going to hear some sad sentences here, I think. But you don't have to write me a story. You just have to write me a sentence that tells me maybe a sad time that you maybe have cried and sniffled a little bit. Something that has upset you before. The next word is tourist. And tourist means it's a person. It's a noun. We've talked about that a lot. It is a noun. So I want you to be talking about yourself as a person or someone as a tourist, not something. Not an action. It's not an action. Okay, I don't tourist something. I might go tour Alaska, but I'm not touristing Alaska. So think about that as you're writing your sentence. But tourist, a person who travels for fun or to learn about other places. So our sentence says, if you could be a tourist anywhere in the world, where would you go to be one? Okay, use the word tourist in your sentence. So the easiest thing would be is to say, I would be a tourist where? Okay, you decide, where in the world would you like to be a tourist? I could be a tourist in Mexico. Okay, I've never been to Mexico. That's someplace I would think I could go have some fun and I would learn a lot of stuff about. Okay, so you might find another place in the world that you want to go. I can't have 19 sentences that said they're going to be a tourist in Mexico. So be creative, be thoughtful and thinking of a good place for you that would be fun to go visit. Okay, where would you be a tourist? The third sentence says, what do you hope Santa stuffs into your stocking? Stuff. We want to stuff it down, right? We're not talking about it being, we're not talking about the things, stuff. I have a lot of stuff. We want to think about it as a verb. We need to stuff things into our backpack we talked about yesterday. So here we're going to talk about what Santa's going to stuff into your stocking. Stuff means push or force something into something else. Okay, so we're pushing or forcing it. And then the last word is collect. So what is something you collect and where do you keep it? And we found out some interesting things that you like to collect. Now I just want you to change that sentence a little bit to answer this question. So what is something that you collect? But then don't forget to tell me where you might keep it. Okay, if it's very valuable, you might keep it in a secret spot. If it's something that you've collected like bugs and we don't want it to get into other things and creepy crawl around other things, we might keep it in a jar or a cage or something. So tell me, where would you keep that collection? What are you collecting and where would you keep it? Collect means to gather things together. And we had some really good charades examples. You guys did a really good job of collecting things and got your friends to guess the correct word. So I know you guys know the words. You did a great job during class during the week. We've been listening, we've been practicing, and I know this week is going to be a great vocabulary test. Don't forget, please remember the capital at the beginning of your sentence. It should always have a capital, okay? Throughout your sentence, I should be capitalized if it's by itself. If you are talking about someone, a specific person with a name or a state, somewhere in the world that has a specific name, you're going to want to put a capital. Big letters, okay? Every letter has two shapes, a capital and then a smaller lowercase. Okay, capitals should be at the beginning of your sentence, and at the end, period, question mark, or exclamation point. I'm guessing we're asking a question, so you're going to want to use a period because you want to tell me something. If you're excited about it, put an exclamation point. Okay, probably not going to answer a question with a question. So those are a few tips. Pay attention, do your very best, work hard, and I know this week's vocabulary test is going to go great. So remember, you get 12 points for your sentences and definitions and the true and false correct answers, and you get 8 points for using complete sentences, and you get 8 points for capitals and punctuation. So you got a lot of points on this test. It takes me a long time to grade it, but you'll do a great job. Okay, go get them.